Welcome to Renewed and Radiant Podcast. This is where we have the real and raw conversations. So if you're ready to rise into the woman you were created to be, you're in the right place. And together we can design a life you love. Hey, welcome. Today's episode is about taking time to reflect on this past year before stepping into the next one. Not to judge yourself, not to relive regrets, not to critique every choice, but to gather wisdom, to release what no longer belongs with you, and to move lighter and move forward and more clear into the new year. I'm Elsa Martin, and for more than 10 years with Whole Body Nutrition, I've coached hundreds of women to balance their hormones, shed their excess weight, and intentionally design lives they truly love. So before we talk about goals, and before we talk about resolutions, before we talk about the new you that the new year so loudly often demands, I want to invite you to do something different this time. I want to invite you to pause. Because if you're like me, this time of year may have you feeling this unspoken pressure to move quickly, to wrap things up, to reset, to hurry into what's next. And while there is something beautiful about fresh new beginnings, we lose something powerful when we rush past reflection. And today's episode, I want to talk about taking time to reflect on the past year before we step fully into the next one. Not to judge yourself, not to relive regrets, not to critique every choice, but to gather wisdom and to release what no longer belongs with you and to move forward lighter and more clear. So wherever you are right now, let this be a moment of slowing down. Take a deep breath with me. We rush because culturally we've been taught that reflection equals dwelling. We hear things like, don't look back, or the past is the past, and just move forward. But the truth is, unexamined years repeat themselves. When we don't pause to reflect, we don't actually change. We just carry the same patterns into a new calendar. Reflection is strategy. It allows you to see the full picture of what this year asked of you and what it required, what it stretched, what it revealed. And without the clarity, we often judge ourselves unfairly or set goals that don't really match reality. So before you decide who you want to become next year, I want to ask you to ask yourself, who did this year require me to be? Because maybe this wasn't a year of expansion. Maybe it was a year of endurance or of healing or learning standards the hard way. Some years are for building and some are for pruning. Some are just for surviving quietly while no one else sees how much effort it actually takes just to stay steady. And here's something important. Not every year is meant to look impressive. Some years are meant to just make you wiser. If you learned what drains you, if you learned what your body needs, if you learned when to say no, if you learned to trust yourself more, that matters. That counts. And that shapes what comes next. Reflection doesn't mean being harsh with yourself. It means being honest with kindness. So instead of asking, what's wrong with me? Ask, what was happening in my life? Instead of, why didn't I do more? Ask, what did this season require of me? Reflection allows you to integrate the year instead of dragging it forward unresolved. And this is where I want to guide you into a powerful practice. I want you to imagine yourself standing at the edge of this new year, right at the threshold. And before you step forward, you get to choose what stays in the past year and what gets to come with you into this new year. And so I encourage you to make a list of everything that you are ready to leave behind in this past year. Not because you failed, not because you're ashamed, but because you've simply outgrown it. And this might include guilt for not doing enough when you're already depleted, or the pressure to prove yourself, or people-pleasing habits that cost you your peace, or old stories about your body, your age, or your worth, or the belief that rest has to be earned. Ask yourself, what am I tired of carrying? What no longer aligns with who I'm becoming? What ends here? Some things don't need fixing. They just need releasing. You're allowed to say, this stays in the past year. And now let's talk about what you're taking with you. Because growth isn't only about letting go, it's about recognizing what deserves to come forward. So I would like you to make a second list. Everything you're choosing to carry into the new year. This might be standards that you worked to create, or maybe it's self-trust that you earned through experience in the past year, or habits that supported your well-being. Maybe it's strength that you didn't know you had until this past year, or the ability to pause instead of react. Maybe you're taking with you a deeper awareness of your body, a calmer nervous system, or maybe the courage to choose alignment over approval. Don't minimize these things. If something changed you, it belongs with you. This list becomes your foundation. Not pressure, not expectations, but truth. And here's what I believe deeply. Goals set without reflection often come from pressure instead of clarity. So when you skip this step, you risk setting goals that ignore your actual capacity and needs. Reflection helps you ask better questions like, what pace is sustainable for me? Or what do I want more of? Not just what do I need to fix? And what kind of year do I truly need in this upcoming year? Sometimes the most powerful intention isn't do more. It's do less with intention. So before we close, I want you to hear this clearly. You are not starting from zero. You're starting from experience, from wisdom, from growth that may not have been loud, but was real. And when you honor what this year taught you, you move forward lighter, more aligned with who you truly are, more aligned with who God has created you to be. And when you choose what stays and what goes, you step into the new year grounded instead of feeling rushed and pressured. So before the planners, before the resolutions, before the big declarations, pause, reflect, pray, and choose. And go into this new year a better version of you, ready to take on what it holds for you so you can design the life you love. And if you'd like this year to be full of energy, balanced hormones, shedding any excess weight, and designing a life you love, that's exactly what we do inside of my coaching program. And if that resonates with you, shoot me an email at elsa@wholebodynutrition.com and let's get you started. Thank you for tuning in today. If this episode spoke to you even in the smallest way, would you do me a quick favor? Hit that subscribe button so you never miss an episode. Leave a like or a review because it truly helps the message reach more women who need it. And if someone came to mind while you were listening, share this episode with her. You never know. Your share might be the spark that changes her entire season. I'm grateful you're here, walking this journey of renewal and radiance with me. And until next time, keep choosing to design a life you love.